In this video, we will be taking a break from talking so much about Austin or comparing Austin to other cities and states and so many of the other types of videos we usually do, and instead we'll be getting right to the point and showing you what a maximum budget of $400,000 will buy you, not only in Austin, but its surrounding areas as well. We're going to be comparing the different schools, the different things to do, and obviously how the types of homes compare themselves. So if that's the reason you clicked on this video, stay tuned because we're getting after it right now. Hello again, guys and gals. If this is your first time to the channel, my name is Frank. I'm part of a team at the award-winning J.B. Goodwin Brokerage right here in the exquisite Austin, Texas. Each and every week we put out tons of new content on regards to living in Austin, Texas, whether it be the pros and cons, the cost of living, comparisons of certain cities and states, vlog tours of certain areas as well, and so much more, including videos like this one. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel and ringing that little bell so that you're notified each and every time we put out a new video. In addition, we get reach outs all the time from people just like you who are in need of our help when relocating to this great city of Austin, Texas. We love learning about your lifestyle and finding that perfect fit for you, making your move as smooth as possible to where all you've got to do is pack up those boxes and we take care of the rest. But the only way we can do that is by you reaching out to us. So whether you're 9 days away or 90 days away, do not hesitate. Go ahead and send us a text, shoot us an email, give us a call any day of the week, any time of day. So let's get right to it and show you what $400,000 or less can get you in Austin and its surrounding areas. And for the record, I'm just gonna go off my notes. I jotted down some talking points in regards to the homes I found. Nothing too fancy, I'll just show you some screenshots I took from my computer using Realtor.com. I'm not gonna get into our MLS or anything too advanced like that. I'm just gonna give you a little taste of what you can expect in all the different areas and kind of just break it down so that you are as informed as possible with your decision. So for starters, let's look at a lovely home I found in South Austin, which is going to be one of the most in-demand, popular areas in all of Austin. This one happens to be on Monarch, and I chose it because it really is a good example of your middle of the road option in this part of Austin, Texas. You're going to have your 3 beds, you're gonna have 2 baths. It's going to be just over 1,500 square feet. I believe 1,524 if I'm not gonna cheat and look at my notes. The lot, however, is going to be just over 6,000. So you are going to have more space outside of the home, obviously. And lastly, this home was built in 1983. So it is going to be older. That is going to be very normal for this part of Austin, as a lot of the newer builds are out in the suburbs. Now, even though this home is just over 1,500 square feet, even though this home is from the 1980s, it is still $400,000, coming in at $262 per square foot, which, if you're thinking to yourself, is expensive, you are absolutely right. In the grand scheme of things, that is expensive because that much money could buy you more somewhere else. It just so happens that this is about location, location, location. So you're not necessarily going to see, usually, someone who's starting a family or newlyweds or someone who is thinking about that type of lifestyle. Here you're going to see young professionals. Here you're going to see people who want to be in Austin, who come to Austin for everything that Austin has to offer. Its eccentricities, its artistry, its uniqueness, its weirdness, if you will. So what South Austin can offer you, if you're not familiar, is very close proximity to Cedar Park, very close proximity to all the museums, the exhibits, the murals, the paddleboarding, all of these things that downtown life has to offer. You know, we even made a video that is damn near an hour long talking about all the things you can do in Austin, Texas, and that's what you're gonna be close to. You know, you can expect quaint homes like this one. You can expect to see old vintage restaurants. You can expect to see little boutiques and shops. Your typical experience is going to be locally crafted beer with some pizza and live music. That is pretty much what you'll come across on a normal basis. According to niche.com, the local schools close to this home on Monarch score between a B- and an A, which is pretty respectable. And it's going to be obviously in the Austin Independent School District. And the reason I'm pleasantly surprised is because Austin itself, the totality of it, has better districts than the Austin Independent School District. Not to say it's not respectable or that it's not good, but compared to its competition, it's just not as good. So to be in such a hot spot, to live so close to everything and still have schools that are ranked B- all the way through an A is a pretty good steal. So yeah, it's not necessarily catered towards starting a family there, but if you really do want to be in the heart of Austin and you do want to start a family as well at the same time, you know, you can find something like this that is reasonably priced. It is going to be older, it is going to be smaller, but you are going to be close enough to good schools and everything else you want. So it is, as I mentioned, a very hot area. All right, moving right along, let's jump now to East Austin, which is the natural segue from South Austin in terms of popularity, in terms of what's happening. So with East Austin, and yes, I am referring to my notes for this one, I found one on Aries Lane. Shout out to any Aries watching this video. Fire signs, woo! So this one is going to be 4 bedrooms, it's going to be 3 bathrooms, just over 1,300 square feet at about an 8,500 foot lot. Now this one, despite being so small and despite being built in 1979, is still going to be right around $350,000, which equates to just about 256 bucks per square foot. Again, very expensive for what you're getting. So if these numbers are reminding you of South Austin, it is because East Austin is arguably the fastest growing neighborhood in the entire Austin area. East Austin is where old meets new. It's going to be very artistic, it's going to be very eclectic. It's rich in culture, it's rich in its history, it's going to be very vibrant, and it's going to have quite a nice nightlife. You're also going to have the benefit of foreign or international style restaurants that give you food that you've never had in your life. So if you are a foodie, I don't claim to be, but if you do, this is going to be something on your list if you really want to be close to those spots. The downside to East Austin, however, is if you're a local Austinite, or maybe you're not even from Austin, but you've been doing your homework, there is a growing and increasing homeless situation in East Austin. So much so that you hear about it even if you're a bit removed from East Austin. Now, I've heard that the city of Austin is taking steps to fix the problem. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do, but they've pledged to improve it because it has been a talking point here. Now, I'm not saying that to dissuade or deter you. You know, a lot of people still live in East Austin. A lot of people happily still live in East Austin, but I keep it brutally honest on this channel, so I am going to give you that heads up. In addition, the schools here, on the note of South Austin as well, the schools in East Austin are going to be on average, according to niche.com, around a B-. And yes, it is also in the Austin Independent School District, which, as I mentioned, is not going to be quite on par with some of the other suburban school districts. So combine the homeless situation with the respectable schools, but perhaps not great schools, you're going to see that this area might not be ideal if you want to start a family or if you're already coming here with kids. I would definitely look elsewhere, but if you are a young professional, if you are moving here for tech, or if you are moving here to work in Austin and you're just wanting to buy a home, maybe get some equity from it eventually, watch it appreciate, whatever the case may be, East Austin is a great spot. And as I mentioned, it has a lot of what makes Austin, Austin in terms of its weird reputation. So if that's what you're after, look no further. But a house like this one is what you can expect if you're not wanting to go above the 300s or above your cap of $400,000. Now, before moving on to our next spot on the list, go ahead and drop a comment down below. Do you have any questions for us? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Drop it all below so that we can get involved with you guys. In addition, consider liking this video as well, as it really helps our channel grow and tells us that we're doing a good enough job providing some value for you guys. And lastly, if you have anyone in your life, a parent, a spouse, a friend, a child, who you know is contemplating a move to this great city of Austin, Texas, go ahead and share our content with them. Spread the good word. Next on this list, you would assume is going to be West Austin, but the truth of the matter is that, generally speaking, not saying every single house, but generally speaking, in West Austin, being in the Bee Caves area, being in the Westlake area, so on and so forth, that is going to be more prime real estate. That is going to be for those who really want to stretch the budget and get something more luxurious, something more exclusive. So I'm not saying with a cap of $400,000 that you won't find anything. However, for the sake of this video, I'm actually going to pivot and take us straight to North Austin and see what that has to offer. So in North Austin, I found a great example of what you can generally expect in that area. It's going to have 3 bedrooms, it's going to have 2 bathrooms, it's going to be just over 1,100 square feet, built again in 1983. Now, despite its 4,300 lot size, despite its over 1,100 square foot home size, despite it being built again in 1983, this one is actually going to cost you just shy of $390,000, coming in at a whopping 343 bucks per square foot. Now, why oh why is something so small, so old, so expensive if it's not even in the heart of downtown, if it's not even in East Austin, one of these trendy, cool places? Why? Because this is now the tech world. And in case you haven't gotten the memo, Silicon Valley from San Francisco, the past 5 to 10 years has been flocking here, creating what is called or dubbed as Silicon Hills here in Austin, Texas. Facebook is here, Amazon is here, Dell is here, IBM is here, Tesla's here, Google's here, Samsung is here, so on and so forth. It really is the tech hub of Austin, Texas. And what is making Austin the #1 relocation hotspot in the country? All the people who are relocating here primarily for those tech jobs. And to buy a house right in the heart of it is going to be very in demand. These are the houses that you're going to see no matter what their price, no matter how old they are or whatever condition they are, they're going to sell so freaking quickly because they are just within minutes of wherever you will be likely commuting for work. What a lot of people do that we've helped in the past who are coming here from the coast, from California, you know, the popular places where a lot of people come here from, is we'll actually show them Round Rock, we'll actually show them Cedar Park, we'll actually show them Leander, Pflugerville, some of these places that are within 10 to 20 minutes of the tech hub, but not right in the thick of it to where 400 grand can only buy you an 1,100 square foot house that's from 1983. So I would recommend, just from my own experience, looking a little bit outside of this main area and seeing what your money can get you instead, and putting up with, say, a 15-20 minute commute versus what you're paying for, which might be 5 or 10 minutes. Lastly, I'll mention the schools in this area. The lowest one, according to niche.com, is actually going to get a C, and the best one is actually going to get an A. And like all of the previous areas on this list, this is still the Austin Independent School District, so it's not necessarily inner city schools. It's, you know, you are in North Austin. However, you're still in that main district and you're still going to have similar schools to what you see in the other areas I've already mentioned. We're not yet getting to these other areas that have better schools, a lot of areas that are more designed for families, but the time has come now to indeed explore those. So if you've been doing your homework on Austin, Texas, and you've been hearing a lot of the same names repeated in your ears, Hutto, Leander, Cedar Park, Round Rock, Pflugerville, Georgetown, this is why. Let me look at my notes here. I found your perfect example of what 400 grand can buy you in one of these places, so we'll start with Georgetown. It is $395,000, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms at a whopping 2,783 square feet, and your lot size being just shy of 7,900 square feet. Now this one's only going to be 142 bucks per square foot, which sounds much more acceptable and reasonable. And this one also was built in 2007. Now, if you're looking at it from 07 to 2021, that is 14 years old. So you could say, oh, that's a bit older than I want, but compared to the other ones that are decades upon decades old, this is actually considered a very new house. Now, because this is in suburbia, you are going to have an HOA fee on this house of just about 22 bucks a month. And the schools in the Georgetown Independent School District are respectable, but in this particular area, they are going to be on average of a C grade and a B plus grade. The Georgetown Independent School District is quite respectable, but again, it's not the cream of the crop. And spoiler alert, the cream of the crop districts within the greater Austin area are going to be the Leander Independent School District and the Round Rock Independent School District, which we are getting to. But yes, Georgetown is a far cry, not only in price and affordability to the central metro Austin area, but also in lifestyle. You know, Georgetown, it is what it sounds like. It's a little town, it's peaceful, it's quiet, it's a little bit old-fashioned. You have your downtown town square, you have a lot of homes on acres, you have a lot of undeveloped land, and you're looking at around, on average, between 30 and 40 minutes from downtown, barring any major traffic. So if you are commuting and you say you're working not in the tech area, which would maybe be 20 minutes, but downtown, that could be quite a bit of a commute. However, if you're coming from San Francisco and you are used to a commute that is over an hour or close to 2 hours, well, there's your breath of fresh air. But some people, if they're gonna work more central to Austin, they scratch Georgetown off the list because yes, it's affordable, yes, it's gorgeous, yes, it's peaceful and quiet, you know, a little escape from the hustle and bustle of Austin, but past clients have told us it's just too far. Having said all of that though, yes, if you are selling your tiny place in Portland, that's 1,400 square foot, and you're selling that for 400 grand, this is why we're seeing so many people come for the bang for your buck. You might look at downtown Austin and think, well, that's not much bang for your buck, is it? No, but when you're looking in the surrounding areas, that's where you find it. I mean, this house in Georgetown has a pool. This house is gigantic compared to the other ones, more than double the size. And you'll find a lot of that in these outskirts of Austin. You'll find a lot of homes near golf courses, with pools, with theater rooms, near elementary schools, or within walking distance even. But obviously you are missing out on what Austin has to offer in terms of those popular, eclectic, weird, trendy, touristy attractions. So now let's move right along to Round Rock, Texas, which is Austin's most popular city, town, suburb, you know, outside of the main area. This is a huge place. It's where a lot of people, single or with families, like to move because it is, yes, removed from the city, but it's not too removed from the city. You know, Round Rock can be a good 10 to 20 minutes, depending on where, south of Georgetown, which puts you that much closer to the city. Now for this one, I decided to go for a newer build and show you what this price point can get you if you're looking for something that was built, say, in the last 5 years. So, this one is going to be 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a 1-story that is just over 1,600 square feet, which is a smaller size, but because of the age of this home and its location, this is what you can expect to pay. This one's lot is just over 6,500 square feet. It's been on the market 9 days now. Your HOA, because you're in Round Rock, is going to be about 25 bucks a month, and it was built in 2017, priced just shy of $370,000, coming in at 222 bucks per square foot. Now with this home in Round Rock, aside from it being only 4 years old, what you're really paying for is that premium top echelon of suburban life with the best schools. As I mentioned, the 2 best are Leander and Round Rock Independent School Districts. It's really neck and neck, splitting hairs, take your pick. They are both exemplary. And Round Rock has about 40,000 students. It has a superb graduation rate. It has great ACT and SAT test scores. And if you're wanting more information on the schools specifically, we do have a video ranking the best districts in the greater Austin area, but I'm keeping it more general and vague for this one. So in this area around this house I'm showing, your worst grade for the school, according to niche.com, is A-, going all the way up to an A+. And in Round Rock, you do have your Dell Diamond for baseball. You do have your premium outlets. You have your IKEA. You have your big box stores. You also have your downtown, which has your local shops and bars. You're going to have the largest indoor water park in the country, which is called Kalahari. It was just completed in the past year or two. And as I mentioned, you are within reasonable distance to the tech area or to downtown. So we are seeing such an influx of people wanting to go to Round Rock. And if you're wanting to see Round Rock, as opposed to just hearing someone like me talk about it or show mediocre photos of a house that's on the market, which by the way is such a pet peeve. If you want to sell your house right, take quality photos, for the love of God. I think we can all agree that goes such a long way. But yes, if you're wanting to see it, we actually did a vlog tour of Round Rock. It was one of our very, very first videos. We weren't sure what the heck we were doing yet with this YouTube thing, but nonetheless, we did get some footage of it for you, so if that does pique your curiosity, be sure to check that out. But yes, for Round Rock, that is more or less what you can expect. But something I'd like to mention is a lot of new build homes, which you are going to find north. You know, the further north you get in the greater Austin area, the more you're going to find new builds. The further south you get, generally speaking, are going to be older houses like the ones I've shown you. But on that note, if you are wanting something newer and you are looking in these areas, you know, for the sake of this video, I've just been showing everything that is used. So as recent as 2017, as old as 1979. But the thing is, when you're looking at a new build, those can actually oftentimes be cheaper than what's already previously been owned. A lot of times the median home price for a used home in any given suburb can be $350, $400, $450, but you're looking at the average price of a new build, that could be $315, $320, $330. Of course, before options, you know, that can really get expensive when you start adding the granite and the fancy this and the fancy that, right? But more or less, you can expect cheaper homes that are brand new if they are still in stock. I just wanted to make that clear, but again, for the sake of this video, I'm just using what is already on the market, what has already been previously purchased. Now let's move right along to Leander, Texas. Now, for starters, Leander, Texas has been dubbed the relocation haven of the greater Austin area. It's not going to necessarily directly compare to Round Rock in terms of how established it is, or how large it is, or how much there is to do there, or even its proximity to Austin. But people are flocking to Leander because of its future, where it's headed. They just announced they're going to build a second domain, which I believe they're calling Northline. That's going to create a ton of new jobs and really help Leander explode. In addition to that, they're planning to build a lagoon there as well, and I will absolutely be enjoying that when it's done. But as it stands right now, Leander is relatively small, and all there really is to do at the moment is go to school, hang out at your house, go shopping, things of that nature, or, you know, then drive out to other places for other things to do. But Leander is really not going to offer as much as, say, Round Rock. But even still, as I mentioned, people flock there because it's an investor's dream, or it's also any homeowner's dream to buy a house there, even if it's not your dream house, and watch it just appreciate and watch that equity grow so that whenever you sell it, you've made quite a hefty sum of money. Now, the home I chose to put on display in Leander to give you a good idea of what this $400,000 price point can offer you is going to be on Calla Lily Cove. And I chuckle because once upon a time, almost a decade ago, one of the first jobs I ever had in my life was actually delivering Chinese food for one of my favorite local Chinese restaurants. And funnily enough, I was delivering oftentimes to Cedar Park, to Leander, to Georgetown, to Round Rock, to North Austin, and I got to know those areas very well long before I could even dream of getting into real estate. So it's funny how life kind of comes full circle, because I remember days in that restaurant when the delivery ticket would be printed and it was my turn to grab the bag and go deliver it, and I saw the street address, Calla Lily Cove, and here I am talking about it on YouTube, educating you on the real estate. So anyways, let's get right to this house on Calla Lily Cove, and that's going to be 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, just over 2,600 square feet on a lot that is just over 6,300 square feet as well. Built in 2013, going for just shy of $400,000, which equals just about 151 bucks per square foot. Now, as I mentioned, Leander in many ways will actually pale in comparison to a town like Round Rock. But as I also mentioned, what you're paying for in Leander, in addition to its future, its projections, you know, what it's going to turn into, which in my opinion is going to be quite a hot spot, quite a hub with all the developments, but what you're also paying for are the schools. Again, as I mentioned, the top 2 are Round Rock and Leander. And Leander, you know, with all the clients we've helped in the past, it's at the top of their list, and the schools are why. They build the neighborhoods around them. It's all designed for families. And the Leander district has about 30,000 students. Again, great ACT scores, SAT scores, and graduation rates. And what's also interesting about Leander is the reach of it. You can live in Cedar Park and be zoned for Leander. You can live in North Austin and be zoned for Leander. You can live near Round Rock, near Georgetown, and obviously in Leander, and be zoned for Leander. And they're always spitting out new schools. They're always building brand new football stadiums. And yes, I went to that district as well, so I do acknowledge my bias. But I'm also not saying anything that the internet couldn't tell you already. Now, because I'm keeping it brutally honest on this channel, as I always do, I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything or say everything's perfect and be a slimy, gross realtor, I'll be honest about Leander. You know, as of now, where it stands, it's not the most exciting place to live. And another thing I'll mention is there are no major employers in Leander. So a majority of clients we've helped get into Leander either work from home or they've made their peace with commuting. You know, unlike Round Rock, which has Dell headquarters, you know, Leander's just not gonna have something like that. So you either work from home or you make your peace with maybe driving 10-15 minutes to the tech hub or 20 to 30 minutes to downtown. Now let's move on to Cedar Park. And what's interesting about Cedar Park is it feels smaller than any place I've already mentioned, and it boomed in the 2000s, right? I feel like its peak boom was maybe 2010. And it's, you know, there's still new builds and stuff like that, but more or less, Cedar Park has already been built and established, and it's not really home to anything amazing. It's not gonna have Kalahari like Round Rock. It's not even going to have Northline or Lagoon like Leander will one day. Cedar Park is just your typical suburb, really. I mean, it is a city, it is a town, yes. Has its own zip code, yes. But it's really just going to be residential, and you're going to have some nice parks. That's what you can expect. In terms of the people who live in Cedar Park, Generally speaking, they are going to be in their 30s or maybe 40s. They're either going to be starting a family or they're going to be newlyweds or first-time home buyers. Now, oftentimes we have helped people move to Cedar Park who already have kids in their teens or already kids in elementary, middle, or high school. But generally, a lot of the people like to go and start their futures in Cedar Park. What's cool about Cedar Park is it is about 20 minutes from downtown, maybe 25, again, barring rush hour, barring major traffic. And it's only about 10 to 15 minutes from the tech hub. So in my experience, Cedar Park is really full of people who work in the tech field. Now, the house I chose as an example of Cedar Park is going to be 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, just shy of 2,500 square feet, sitting on a lot just shy of 6,500 square feet. Now, even though I mentioned Cedar Park kind of peaked a little over a decade ago, this home was built in 2017, which is a nice surprise, and it's priced just shy of $400,000, which means it comes out to about 162 bucks per square foot. And because this is Cedar Park, you will have an HOA, and this one is about 50 bucks a month. Now, worth mentioning again, this is where you get that bang for your buck. You take your money that you sold your tiny place for on the coast, and you're coming to Texas to buy big. This is where you look. You look in the Cedar Parks of the world. In this market, 4 bedrooms, just shy of 2,500 square feet for $400,000 is what you could call a bargain. And again, as I mentioned, living in Cedar Park, you are going to be zoned for the Leander Independent School District, so I'm not going to be redundant. You already know what to expect. Great schools in that area, very safe as well, and close enough in proximity to whatever your commute's going to be without necessarily being as far as Georgetown or as far as Leander. The downside, again, to reiterate, is in Cedar Park, there's just not that much going on. All right, moving on. Lastly, we will talk about Pflugerville. What's great about Pflugerville is that you are actually neighboring Round Rock, which has all of these things to do that I mentioned. And what's cool about being in Pflugerville is depending on where in Pflugerville, because it is quite large, you can be within 10-15 minutes of downtown Austin and within 5 or 10 minutes of the tech hub. Another great thing about Pflugerville, of course, depending on where in Pflugerville, is how affordable it can be. Yes, it's true in this market, everything's gotten more expensive, and it will continue to do so because Austin, being Austin, is just going to rapidly appreciate, in my opinion. But even still, Pflugerville has always hung its hat on being one of those affordable options to live. Now, having said that, Pflugerville is also very, very, very established. Its peak, its boom, was long before a majority of these outskirts of Austin that I've already mentioned. And because of that, depending on where you're looking, especially if you're looking more in southwest Pflugerville versus northeast, northeast being newer, southwest being older, you are certainly going to find better bang for your buck. So in Pflugerville, I found a pretty good example of this. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, just shy again of 2,500 square feet on a lot that is 9,600 square feet, built though in 1993. So this is where you can see the age in Pflugerville. Not to say you can't find something built 5 years ago, but it might be more expensive and it might be further away from downtown. This one is going to be just shy of $400,000, coming in at 161 bucks per square foot. Now, in addition to its proximity to that tech hub, in addition to its proximity to downtown, and how established Pflugerville is, having lots to offer in regards to things you can do, its schools are actually also going to be quite respectable. Now, they're not going to be on the top echelon of Round Rock and Leander, no, but Pflugerville Independent School District is very respectable even still. The nearby schools for this home I picked are ranked between a B- and an A, and so yes, bang for your buck, absolutely. It might be an older home, but you're seeing how pretty it is, how well kept it can be, and how relatively affordable it is, of course, depending on your own budget. Because the truth of the matter is, the median home price for most of these areas I've gone over is around $430,000, $450,000, or even shy of $500,000. And a lot of people see those numbers and get scared. So they look at Taylor, they look at Hutto, which are great places as well. But I'm here to tell you that you can buy cheaper in these places. You're just either going to sacrifice in size or you're going to sacrifice in age. And so obviously, if you are working with a budget of $500,000, $600,000 and up, your options increase exponentially. I'm just here to show you what you can swing if you're wanting to aim a little bit lower in price. And again, to reiterate, something worth mentioning is that new builds will oftentimes be even cheaper than something that is pre-owned. So I would encourage you to check that out as well. And let us know as well in the comments if you'd like for us to do more of these videos, perhaps with a different budget cap, perhaps focusing on specific areas. Like if you guys wanted us to do 10 home options you can find for under $550 in Leander, for example, something like that. Let us know. We're very receptive to ideas and we try to do our best to make videos on them if we can make them work. And so whether it is Pflugerville, whether it is South Austin, whether it's East Austin, whether it's Cedar Park, Leander, or anything in between, what we pride ourselves in doing and what we're good at doing is finding that perfect place that fits your lifestyle, that fits your needs, the right commute to work, the right schools for your kids, the right property tax rate, so on and so forth, and helping people just like you who are in need of us when relocating to this great city of Austin, Texas. But the only way we can do that is by you reaching out to us. So again, whether you're 9 days away or 90, do not hesitate. Shoot us a text, send us an email, give us a call any day of the week, any time of day. And again, we put out tons of new content each and every week all in regards to living in Austin, Texas. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel and ringing that little bell so that you're notified each and every time we put out a new video. Consider liking the video as well, as it helps our channel grow, tells us that we've done a good enough job providing some value for you. Share it with anyone you know who might be relocating to Austin, Texas in need of the good word. Drop a comment down below. And until the next one, you guys, my name is Frank. I am your host. This is Living in Austin, Texas, and we will absolutely catch you later.